The unspoken warning, why God sends dreams to his chosen ones before the first hint of trouble ever appeared in your waking life. Something felt subtly off. It was a quiet kind of dread, a dense, inexplicable weight settled right in your spirit. You couldn't rationalize it, couldn't point to a specific cause, but it was there, a profound, nonverbal warning that an unseen shift was taking place. And then, without ceremony, that dream materialized. It was sharp, utterly vivid, and carried an emotional intensity that made it utterly impossible to simply dismiss as a random flicker of the subconscious. What if this wasn't merely the brain processing the day's residual thoughts? What if this profound, unforgettable experience was actually a direct communication, a benevolent intervention from God, aimed at warning you about a serious spiritual attack or a life-altering crossroad that was rapidly approaching? Stay with me for a moment and truly listen with your heart, because the insights we are about to explore are not just fleeting pieces of data, but foundational truths designed for your personal alignment and protection. Have you ever experienced a dream that, long after you've woken up, refuses to dissipate? It clings to your periphery, a persistent echo that resonates deep within your chest, pulling at your consciousness as if an inner voice is ceaselessly whispering, "This is important. You must pay attention." This powerful retention is significant because dreams stand as one of the most ancient, purest, and most unadulterated channels through which the Creator chooses to communicate with his specially chosen individuals. When the clamor of everyday life becomes overwhelming, when the physical world starts to exert a suffocating heaviness, and when your spiritual focus is being fractured by too many competing demands, God often alters his mode of communication. He temporarily pauses speaking through predictable, observable circumstances and shifts to a language comprised of potent symbols, evocative scenes, visceral emotions, and profound encounters that entirely bypass your natural human logic, moving straight into the essential core of your spirit. And today, we are going to meticulously peel back the layers and uncover 7 specific types of dreams that God deliberately sends as urgent warnings to his people. These are not general messages. They are highly specific alerts that manifest precisely when a major disruption is looming in the unseen realms, when a genuine spiritual threat is drawing near, or when God himself is forcefully prompting you to fundamentally change your action, make a critical choice, or intensify your prayer life in a specific manner. Understand this clearly. These divine dreams are not dispatched for your mere entertainment or amusement. Their singular purpose is to act as a shield to protect you, a catalyst to awaken you, and a guiding light when your personal destiny is rapidly approaching a sharp, non-negotiable corner. A turn you simply cannot afford to take while walking blindly. So, if any of these symbolic dreams have recently found their way into your nights, it is absolutely crucial that you grasp a fundamental truth that underpins all of them. They are in no way arbitrary occurrences. They are not the result of random chance or an accident of timing. They are not merely the byproducts of emotional stress or an overactive imagination working overtime. Instead, they are high-level spiritual alerts. They are definite assignments from the divine realm. They are God himself placing his protective, intentional hand directly upon your spirit, essentially communicating this profound message. You absolutely need to perceive what is heading your way before it actually arrives and impacts your life. If this very message right now is generating a noticeable stir deep within your soul, take a conscious moment to acknowledge and honor that sensation, for it means your spirit has already recognized the inherent truth before your rational, slower, moving mind has fully caught up. Before we venture deeper into the specifics of these warnings, please take a moment to perform a quick action to fully activate your spiritual discernment. Please ensure you have liked this video, subscribed to the channel if you haven't yet joined us, and take a moment to comment the number 99 below. The number 99 is a powerful spiritual representation of a divine countdown, symbolizing that pivotal moment where God draws his chosen ones into a state of absolute, concentrated divine readiness just before a significant and irreversible spiritual shift is about to unfold in their lives. Now, let's discuss the first dream, the dream of losing something precious. There exists a very particular kind of dream capable of jolting you awake with a visceral panic that is often far more unsettling than any real-life moment of loss. You instinctively reach into your pocket, and the item is inexplicably missing. You open your hand to examine something, and it inexplicably dematerializes, slipping right through your fingers. This object might be a set of keys, a critical wallet, a meaningful piece of jewelry, or a personal bag, something you know should be securely with you. Yet, within the dream's reality, it has completely vanished, as though the very fabric of the moment was retroactively erased. This dream doesn't manifest just to show you an inevitable loss. Its true purpose is to precisely pinpoint and expose the specific area where your spirit is currently being strategically targeted by the enemy. When an object you consider precious or vital disappears within the dreamscape, it serves as a powerful symbol indicating that your foundational inner stability, your clarity of thought, your sense of unshakable confidence, or your defined sense of life direction is currently under a concentrated spiritual attack. That specific object represents a crucial piece of your spiritual footing. By showing you its absence, God is shining a spotlight on the exact vulnerability where the enemy is tirelessly working to subtly weaken your defenses. Take a moment to consider the symbolism. Keys represent the ability to unlock new pathways and opportunities. Wallets often symbolize your identity, provision, and inherent self-worth. Bags frequently carry the resources and essentials that sustain you on your journey. When these foundational items suddenly disappear in a dream, it is God's gentle but urgent whisper penetrating your sleep, delivering a clear message. Someone or something in your waking life is actively and persistently tugging at the threads of your deep-seated peace. You must immediately shift your focus and pay closer attention. This is not an attempt to provoke fear within you, but rather a loving directive designed to awaken you to the reality of the subtle conflict. This is critical because most chosen ones do not experience a sudden, catastrophic loss of inner peace. Instead, it is systematically and quietly drained away through a slow accumulation of small, seemingly insignificant distractions, subtle emotional manipulations, or draining relationships with people who consistently take much more than they ever contribute. The dream, therefore, makes its appearance the exact moment this quiet draining process transitions from a minor annoyance into a dangerously unsustainable pattern. God reveals this vulnerability so you can take decisive action to immediately reinforce your personal boundaries, realign your spiritual focus, and forcefully reclaim what is being systematically and silently pulled away from you without your conscious permission. And here is the profound element that the majority of people consistently fail to grasp. The very moment you experience that sudden realization of loss in the dream, that wave of unsettling confusion that washes over you, that is the precise emotional state you have been deliberately overlooking or suppressing in your actual life. God compels this feeling to the surface in the dream so you can no longer rationalize it or overlook its spiritual significance. But what if the dream isn't just exposing an attack, but actively revealing the exact person or influence responsible for it? Stay connected because the next crucial sign delves even deeper into the landscape of spiritual warfare. The second sign, the dream of being chased. This is the classic, jarring dream that abruptly snaps you into full wakefulness, leaving your heart violently pounding, your breathing ragged and heavy, and an overwhelming, lingering sense of urgency you struggle to articulate. You are running, desperately, not by choice or desire, but because you possess an undeniable, immediate certainty that something unseen behind you is rapidly closing the distance. You might not perceive a clear face or form, but the sheer emotional pressure, the high-stakes urgency, and the invisible, compelling force are all pushing you to accelerate your pace relentlessly. This pervasive dream is not fundamentally about generating mere fear. It is a powerful allegory for the escalating spiritual pressure that is actively surrounding or closing in on the areas of your life where you have been persistently avoiding an important truth, indefinitely delaying a necessary decision, or constantly postponing a critical, overdue confrontation that your spirit is no longer able to simply ignore. When the scenario involves you running without ever actually being caught, it often signifies that your waking life has been pulling at you simultaneously from every single angle, a relentless onslaught of increasing responsibilities, external expectations, and immense emotional weight. Your spirit is effectively signaling that you have taken on far too much to carry alone. The message is clear: slow down, refocus your inner world, and pray for supernatural assistance. However, if the dream undergoes a terrifying shift, if the pursuer manages to seize you, or corners you in a place where there is no escape, that moment operates as a direct spiritual mirror. God is explicitly showing you the very tangible thing in your waking reality that you have been nervously tiptoeing around or outright avoiding. This could manifest as a crucial conversation you are terrified to initiate, a necessary boundary you have delayed setting, a deeply ingrained negative habit you stubbornly refuse to break, or a foundational truth you keep mentally pushing aside simply because its demands for radical change feel too intimidating. God releases this intense chase dream when the level of spiritual warfare around you sharply intensifies, not to deliberately frighten you into inaction, but rather to serve as a profound reminder that chosen individuals are not fundamentally called to perpetually run from battles. They are intentionally called to grow and be fortified within those battles. The act of the chase itself is not primarily about the enemy rapidly gaining ground. It is about you finally realizing that the mere act of avoiding a problem does not magically cause it to vanish. It only allows it to chase you with greater intensity and determination. And here is the psychological and spiritual twist that very few ever truly grasp. The precise moment you finally cease running in the dream, if you are ever spiritually prompted to do so, is the exact moment when your dormant spiritual authority begins to powerfully activate. So, I must ask you to deeply consider this. What potentially monumental shift would occur in your life if, the next time you find yourself in that terrifying dreamscape, instead of instinctively running, you made a deliberate, conscious choice to turn around and face the pursuer? Because the profound spiritual meaning embedded in that singular moment is far more powerful and revolutionary than most people are truly prepared to confront and understand. The third sign, the dream of dirty or flooded water. This stands out as one of the most symbolically weighty and complex dreams a chosen individual can possibly receive, primarily because water, in the spiritual context, is said to never lie. In the landscape of dreams, water serves as a pure, direct reflection of the absolute state of your inner world, your emotional stability, your spiritual purity, and the overall atmosphere that encompasses your soul. Therefore, when the water in your dream turns profoundly murky, when its state shifts dramatically from clear and pristine to thick, cloudy, or excessively heavy and chaotic, God is not merely presenting you with a neutral visual scene. He is vividly showing you the current, compromised condition of your spiritual being. Dirty, contaminated water appears when something or someone has been systematically and quietly infiltrating and contaminating your fundamental peace. This pollution might be the lingering residue from an emotionally draining conversation, the unsettling effect of an environment that instantly feels wrong the moment you cross its threshold, or a specific negative habit you continuously justify despite the persistent, quiet nudges from your spirit urging you to finally release it. God utilizes this particular dream to vividly expose invisible spiritual pollution, the insidious kind that you don't even fully register until your spiritual discernment starts to feel noticeably dull. Your inherent joy feels inexplicably dimmed, or your mental clarity becomes significantly blurred. And then we move to the powerful warning represented by floods. When water begins to rise uncontrollably, surging and spilling over roads into structures or filling rooms, it is a clear spiritual indicator that your deeply held emotions have been forcibly pushed far beyond their natural, sustainable limits. Perhaps you have been carrying an overwhelming spiritual or emotional load, or maybe a certain person has been relentlessly demanding and pulling too much energy from your spirit. Flooded water serves as an undeniable sign of massive emotional overload, spiritual manipulation, or profound soul exhaustion. It is God intervening in your dream space, emphatically declaring, "You are willingly absorbing things that I explicitly never instructed you to carry. You must immediately clean and purify your internal atmosphere before it becomes a spiritual flood that completely drowns your peace." And here is the most surprisingly unexpected revelation regarding this particular dream. Sometimes, the chaotic water in the dream is not directly attacking you. Its purpose is purely to vividly reveal the absolute source of the spiritual contamination. Therefore, you must pay extremely close attention to the origin point of the water's flow. Pay attention to the specific individuals who are standing intimately close to it. Dreams are designed not just to issue a generalized warning, they are precision tools intended to expose the unseen. And the next profound dream on this list will illuminate the unmistakable presence of a danger that has been far more cleverly hidden than you could have ever imagined. The fourth sign, the dream of snakes or hidden creatures. This is the type of dream that often arrives with a deceptive quietness, but continues to unsettle and shake you long after your eyes are fully open. The appearance of slithering snakes, creeping shadows, or indistinct crawling figures are never random, throwaway images. They are potent spiritual symbols delivered with intense, almost surgical precision. When a chosen individual is shown a snake in a dream, God is not merely showing you a potential generalized danger. He is exposing a fundamental, underlying truth you must acknowledge. Snakes are the ancient, universal representation of deep deception, cleverly wrapped in an unsettling, false sense of familiarity. They represent individuals who may smile broadly in your immediate presence, but engage in treacherous conversations, and speak a completely different, critical language the moment your back is turned. They symbolize subtle, quiet manipulation, the venom of silent, hidden jealousy, and concealed intentions that refuse to reveal themselves honestly in the light of day. This dream does not manifest to instill crippling fear in you. Its primary function is to forcefully tear the mask away from someone or something that you have been dangerously overlooking or excusing in your waking life. Sometimes the menacing snake appears unsettlingly close to you, almost violating your personal space. This is a crucial detail because genuine, impactful spiritual attacks very rarely originate from complete strangers. They come almost exclusively from individuals who have been granted access to your inner world, people who have intimate knowledge of your vulnerabilities, individuals who carefully study and envy your foundational strengths, and ultimately, people who desperately desire what you carry, anointing your favor, but completely refuse to undergo the necessary spiritual transformation required to become who you are. And God, who possesses the total knowledge of what your human eyes cannot yet perceive, projects that necessary truth directly into the dream realm, a place where deceit and lies lose their ability to disguise themselves. But there is a significantly deeper layer of meaning here. The specific behavior and action of the creature within the dream are paramount. A snake that merely watches you intently from a clear distance implies that someone is silently observing your every move, actively gathering sensitive information about your next steps. A serpent that actively attempts to strike or bite you clearly signals a direct, impending attack. This may manifest as malicious words being spoken, negative intentions being spiritually released, or concrete actions being taken directly against your character or reputation. And if the snake immediately attempts to conceal itself, slipping quickly back into the darkness the very moment you catch sight of it, that signifies that the deception is currently active and operating, but has not yet been fully exposed in the physical, observable world. It is God's gentle but firm way of communicating. You must proceed with extreme caution. You are placing your complete trust too openly and freely. It is time to significantly tighten your inner circle. Therefore, Reflect very carefully right now. Who have you recently allowed to come too close to your spirit? Who currently holds access to your most closely guarded secrets? Who sits near your soul, but perpetually fails to bring genuine, refreshing peace? Because the next crucial dream on this profound spiritual journey does not simply reveal hidden, negative motives. It starkly uncovers a foundational part of your soul that has been unconsciously wandering without you ever fully comprehending why. The fifth sign, the dream of being lost or unable to find your way. This specific dream carries a distinct, unsettling texture that differentiates it from all the others. It doesn't typically frighten you with immediate terror. Its effect is a profound, debilitating disorientation. You are walking with intention, yet absolutely nothing around you looks familiar or recognizable. Streets abruptly bend into nonsensical patterns. Doors that should lead you somewhere significant instead lead to a void. Hallways repeat themselves in an endless, maddening loop you cannot manage to break. Every single turn you attempt feels momentarily correct, and then, with jarring speed, becomes profoundly wrong. This pervasive dream manifests when your spirit has been drastically stretched thin. When you have been carelessly distributing pieces of your core self and vital energy to a never-ending cycle of responsibilities, draining people, and relentless external pressures that were fundamentally never meant to consume your precious energy reserves. It shows up powerfully when your ultimate purpose is actively and urgently calling you forward. Yet the intense, distracting noise of the world around you is exponentially louder and more compelling than the quiet, inner voice of your true calling. Being lost in a dream is not a spiritual indicator of simple confusion. It is an alarming symbol of deep misalignment. It is God explicitly showing you that you are indeed moving with great effort, but that movement is absolutely not directed toward the specific, prepared place that He has set aside for you. You have been walking with a sense of vague intention, yet utterly lacking a divine, clear direction. You have been profusely pouring your finite energy and effort into projects and pursuits that ultimately do not genuinely nourish the roots of your divine calling. You have been frantically searching for true spiritual clarity within environments and relationships that were never meant to possess the wisdom or authority to guide you. The disorienting nature of the dream intensely escalates when you try desperately to find an escape route, only to discover that every single exit persistently leads you right back to the exact same familiar starting point. That relentless loop is a potent spiritual symbol. It signifies that a debilitating cycle within your life, a specific negative habit, a toxic pattern of behavior, a stagnant relationship dynamic, or a restrictive mindset, must be decisively broken. It is a cycle that keeps pulling you relentlessly back into old, spiritually confining rooms. God intentionally sends this distinct dream to forcefully stop your movement before you drift so far away that you lose all connection to your primary assignment. He is issuing a command. Immediately refocus your energies, recenter your spirit, completely stop feeding the things that are draining your essence, and return urgently to the specific place where you truly and fundamentally belong. And here is the element that strikes with the deepest emotional resonance. The very instant you finally recognize the state of being lost in the dream is the precise moment God is revealing that your spirit had already sensed this alarming disorientation in your real life. But you consciously chose to brush that powerful intuition aside. Therefore, you must ask yourself a hard question. If your spirit is aimlessly wandering in your dreams, what is it frantically trying to return to when you are fully awake and in control? Because the next dream doesn't simply reveal spiritual misalignment. It exposes the hidden cracks that have been silently forming in your spiritual foundation without your conscious knowledge. The sixth sign, the dream of a broken house or damaged room. This particular dream does not shock you awake with primal fear. Instead, it subtly unsettles you with an undeniable sense of uneasy recognition. You are standing inside a house that is intimately familiar, or perhaps a specific room you have moved through countless times. But within the dream, something is fundamentally and profoundly wrong. A distinct crack is shown running down a foundational wall, acting as a silent, insistent warning. A leak is steadily, almost rhythmically dripping, as if counting down to an unseen spiritual event. Furniture is disturbingly out of place. Windows are strangely unlocked, and doors you distinctly remember closing securely are now standing inexplicably wide open. This dream is considered one of God's most direct and potent messages transmitted to His chosen ones. This is because, in the spiritual realm, the house represents you, your totality, your inner world, the state of your heart, your mind, and your spiritual covering or protection. When the integrity of the house is shown to be damaged, God is revealing that a specific element in your life, a person, a persistent situation, or an internal conflict, has been systematically wearing down your defenses. This erosion is not happening suddenly or catastrophically, but slowly, subtly, and with devastating quietness. Cracks appear when intense pressure has been allowed to build up in the areas where you have been falsely pretending to possess an impossible strength. Leaks are symbolic representations of intense emotional weight or unaddressed trauma that has been ignored for too long, slowly seeping into the spiritual places you believed were perfectly stable. Broken walls clearly reveal the complete collapse of crucial boundaries that you slowly stopped enforcing over time. And any intruders, whether you actually see their physical form or merely feel their unsettling presence, are symbolic of people, energies, or negative influences that have violently crossed spiritual lines you never intended to leave undefended. God shows you this dream because chosen people often resort to enduring in painful silence, carrying immense burdens with a deceptively brave face, all while the internal spiritual structure slowly begins to strain and fracture. This dream is not about fear. It is a profound act of spiritual prevention. It is God intervening immediately before a current weakness becomes a permanent doorway, before an existing vulnerability evolves into a critical entry point for darkness, and before the toxicity of the external atmosphere gains access to the sacred, guarded atmosphere within your soul. And here lies the deeper, liberating truth. The house is not breaking down simply because you are failing or performing poorly. It is cracking because you are spiritually evolving and expanding, and the old restrictive structure simply cannot withstand or support the immense, glorious weight of the new person you are rapidly becoming. So ask yourself right now, what element in your life has been quietly, insidiously weakening you while you have been entirely too preoccupied with mere survival to pay sufficient attention? Because the final, seventh dream doesn't just display what is breaking. It explicitly reveals who is actively trying to seize and take possession of what God Himself gave you. The seventh sign, the dream of someone trying to take something from you. This powerful dream impacts you differently than all the others because it is not an attack on your general surroundings. It is a direct, calculated attack aimed specifically at you. Someone in the dream is relentlessly reaching for what you physically hold in your hands. Someone is actively attempting to take away a sacred or vital object that you are clearly carrying. Someone is violently pulling, grabbing, stealing, or forcing you to move in a direction you absolutely did not choose. And even if you cannot discern the face of the perpetrator, you can clearly feel the controlling, draining, and utterly invasive nature of their intention. This dream is a spiritual alert issued with the utmost precision. When an individual attempts to seize something from you in the dream realm, God is instantly revealing a profound truth that has not yet been fully exposed in your waking reality. A specific person in your immediate circle is desperately seeking unauthorized access to something that belongs exclusively to you. Your peace, your irreplaceable energy, your unique ideas, your destined path, your divine favor, or your established identity. This dream is not about a physical object. It is fundamentally about ownership and spiritual authority. The enemy relentlessly utilizes people, toxic environments, and emotionally manipulative dynamics to systematically drain chosen individuals of their vitality long before they fully realize the extent of what is happening. The dream appears the precise moment that person's negative influence reaches a dangerous, critical level. It surfaces the moment their underlying intentions begin to aggressively shift, and the moment their simple presence starts forcefully pulling essential life force out of you that God explicitly never authorized you to give away. If the person in the dream forcefully yanks an item from your grasp, it often signifies that someone has been quietly and aggressively taking advantage of your natural generosity, your profound loyalty, or your spiritual gift of giving. If they are actively chasing you for the specific object you hold, it suggests that someone is secretly competing with you, feeling deeply threatened by the unique spiritual deposit that God has placed inside you. If they attempt to subtly guide or control your physical movement, it means someone is actively attempting to control the direction of your entire life, subtly shaping your critical choices, manipulating your emotions, or influencing your significant decisions for their own selfish benefit. God intentionally sends this warning dream to preemptively intercept a betrayal before it can fully manifest. It is sent to aggressively break a pattern of manipulation before it can securely take root in your life, and to clearly expose any spiritual theft before it completely drains away the spiritual resources and blessings you have been diligently building. And here is the final, powerful revelation most people overlook. You never, ever dream of someone attempting to take from you unless something in your life is rapidly approaching a moment of divine protection, restoration, or immediate elevation. Attacks do not target the empty or the insignificant. They come specifically for the chosen. They come for the anointed. They come for those who are currently carrying something sacred and destined for greatness. So, pause right now and deeply breathe in this truth. If this intense dream has recently reached you, it is undeniable proof that you are far closer to a major divine shift than you can currently realize. And the ultimate truth God is now ready to reveal in the conclusion, the singular reason all these specific dreams have been appearing, the discernible pattern that connects them all, and the ultimate message they are preparing your spirit to receive, is a realization you simply cannot afford to miss or ignore. And now, take a deep, centering breath, because every single word you have heard up to this precise moment has been a careful, necessary preparation, building toward a single, unified truth that your spirit has been patiently waiting to fully recognize. If any combination of these 7 distinct warning dreams has been persistently rising in your nights, appearing repeatedly with a profound weight that you simply cannot dismiss, understand a reality that is deeper than mere fear, more complex than simple symbolism, and more profound than generalized warning. God's intention is absolutely not to terrify you into paralyzing inaction. His profound, loving purpose is solely to strategically prepare you for what is coming. These dreams are not shadows of impending danger. They are powerful spiritual shields. They are intentional divine interventions. They are benevolent interruptions sent directly from heaven to immediately reroute a threat that was heading directly toward you, to decisively expose what has been expertly hiding too close to you, and to dynamically strengthen what was secretly weakening within your core. Every single dream serves as undeniable proof that the entirety of heaven is meticulously watching over you. They confirm that God clearly perceives the attacks long before they are fully formed. He sees the crushing pressure, the silent cracks, the profound exhaustion, and the relentless distractions. And He definitively refuses to allow you to walk blindly into anything that possesses the potential to shatter your core purpose. Your dreams are not random chance. Your nights are not spiritually silent. Your spirit is fundamentally awake, highly alert, and significantly more aware of the unseen battle than your conscious mind currently realizes. And your sacred calling, the one that has faithfully followed you since your childhood, the one that has miraculously survived every direct spiritual attack, the one that persistently pulls you forward even when you feel thoroughly unprepared, That calling is fiercely active right now. God is speaking to you with immense clarity, urgency, and unconditional love, specifically because something monumental in your life is rapidly approaching a critical, divine turning point. This is not a season of confusion. This is an era of brilliant illumination, a necessary season of complete exposure, and a powerful time of aggressive spiritual sharpening where absolutely nothing that has been hidden will be allowed to remain hidden, and absolutely nothing that was ultimately meant for you will be successfully taken from your grasp. If these powerful warning dreams have infiltrated your recent nights, then this profound message has undeniably touched the core of your destiny. And now, the moment for your authoritative response has arrived. Comment below with absolute authority and conviction. I receive clarity and discernment. Say it aloud so your own spirit hears the command. Say it so heaven immediately seals the declaration. Say it so the path that lies ahead becomes unmistakably clear and powerfully directed.